Recording process. Good morning.
Good morning. Good, how are you? I don't know, does it say your name?
So you I go to my son on the restaurant. Everybody's like fun. I like but now yeah, for me personally, yes. That is what I think. I could. I know. It's like
You're busy.
and the free for we've been like okay, so in the I'm now in Colorado, like
He was like planning
you know how you're like going for a mentor? Yeah, never know. Oh, you know the comedy club that like has more yeah, still there.
Sure, yeah, that's like direct.
Yeah.
Yeah. But though they have. Oh, yeah.
We still look at that. I got it from on that. Yeah. I know it's gonna be by today.
I'm like, yeah. I don't even tell her. I think they make care. Well, it's good for the. It's so. Well, I heard this about to go buy it. I heard it's good that way. No, actually, but maybe it's really bad.
All right, folks, well. Let's get this started, shall we? Let me go backwards. I just want to speed the buffalo field up longer, because that's cool. All right, so if you are on Zoom World, just unmute yourself if you have anything to share or pass. I'm gonna put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I recommend y'all do the same. Right, so first things first, any upcoming listings? And I'd like to add something to this. So not only upcoming listings, are there any upcoming opportunities, like buyer opportunities that you're excited about? Obviously, you're not sharing your buyer with people, but I mean, I feel like it's exciting too. So anything you want to share? Yes.
I'm going tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, Thursday, on a listing appointment, and it was a referral, so.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, a referral from somebody who I've sold 2 of her properties and found her 2 properties.
Oh, wow.
And she referred, so,
Very nice.
yeah.
So is this like a come list or not, hey, I have a
Yeah.
referral for you, or did you reach out to them just like asking them?
No, she just texted me the other day and said, I gave your number to my friend Diane, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I was like, that's great, gee, I hope she calls me.
Yeah.
Cause and normally I ask, but with this particular person, I know that she's like a big advocate for me.
Yeah.
And sure enough, next day she called, and if she hadn't, I would have been calling her and saying, maybe she's not comfortable calling me.
Yep.
How do you feel about giving me her number?
Yeah.
Like that way I can make sure she's taken care of.
Very nice. So it wasn't the ideal way, but you were prepared
Yes,
that if it didn't, you were gonna.
yes,
Very nice. I'm a three-way text person. I say, put us in a three-way text, and that usually,
Yeah,
that's all, that's my go-to, but everyone's different.
yeah,
Good for you.
no, you know what, and I agree with you on that. 100%, it's just with this particular person, it's like, I know the quality of the person that she sent me.
So you've done 4 transactions with them and referral now. Good job, very nice. All right, anything else? That's an upcoming listing appointment, love that. Anything else? All right, going once, going twice. All right, bright spots. So let's share a few good things that happened the last couple of weeks, we'll say. A few good things that have gone well in your business. I just have a lazy eye. It's going towards you. Oh, yes, yes.
Okay, I'm pretty sure everybody knows already, but yeah, one of my friends, her parents are investors and they reached out to me to like replace for them. And, we found a property and we moved fast with the help of Kate. And, we are closing at the end of the.
That's a huge bright spot. Okay, what else? And I will be using you as, well, I'll be using a few different people for this, but we're teaching a class soon on finding your avatar, AKA finding your niche and going hyper focused with your ideal client. Now, it does not mean you say no to certain people, but the sooner you can figure out who you resonate with and who resonates with you, the sooner you will be able to hyper focus your marketing, your targeting with fair housing things, respected. But that's a huge thing. And we're going to share how a few of our agents have already been doing that. So what other, let's get 2 more. I want 2 more bright spots. 2 more bright spots. That's is it full of candy? That's a bright spot in and of itself. There you go. Yes.
I'm gonna go see.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
Yeah,
Wait, where?
yeah, it's at SoFi.
Oh, man.
What? Yeah, it's like for 65.
Shut up.
But that's.
Really?
You're in Beyonce's and Beyonce.
That's it. I'm gonna go see backstage. I'm gonna try to start.
There was anything for $65? That's
You
crazy.
know, it blew my mind. I paid like $200 for Harry Potter, so it's like, see.
We paid $200 for nosebleeds at Dodger Stadium on Friday.
Yeah.
Like, and we were like the top,
Yeah,
but it was Freddie Freeman ball.
that's exciting. I've never seen Beyonce.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
That
Very
is,
nice.
that, I think that comes every time.
Shoot, anyone else? We want one more bright spot.
Moving on.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
All right, a relative bright spot. I like it.
We're gonna be independent.
Yeah, that's exciting. Yeah, you just told me a little bit about that. That's awesome. All right. Okay. Let's move on. Button's not working. Sorry. Oh, you know what? It's because I clicked on something, didn't I? I think I did that.
Oh, there's another bright spot. We got the bell.
Oh, yes, that's another bright spot. I was supposed to ring that when we started the meeting. Sorry. It's new habits. I need to get into a new routine. So when you get a closing, you will be taking a picture with the bell, the sound of success, and you're gonna ring nice and loud.
Wow. I nailed it for that one.
There you go. Yeah, we haven't had that up for a while.
Years.
Has it been years?
That's a lot.
It has been a while, right? Yeah. Yeah, well, it's back. It's back. Okay. Creativity. So we're always like to go through the KW belief system. It's the Y4C2T. So we have win, win or no deal. Integrity, do the right thing. I would say that with real estate, we see violations of that, and you are always caught in a situation where it's easy to not do the right thing, and nobody would know the difference. Customers always coming first, commitment in all things, communication, seek first to understand. We're going to be talking about creativity today, and that little framework that I sent a text out today. Teamwork, together everyone achieves more. Trust starts with honesty, equity, opportunities for all, and then success results through people. So we'll always move the Gary Keller mustache around depending on what we want to emphasize that day. And today we're going to be focusing on creativity, because there are rumors that some people's pipelines are a little dry. Nobody wants to look at me. And that's okay, it happens. So we're going to talk about today how we can do a really quick the fastest, most simple inventory of your database you've ever seen. Okay, so that's the goal of our education piece today. We have a new face here, Jessica. Welcome. Give us the tiny bit about yourself. What did you do before this? How did you find the best industry in the world?
Yeah, I've been in retail for like 20 years. I did run my own business for like 3 years during the pandemic, so that didn't work out. But I work with dogs, that's my passion, and I lived on a boat for 2 years. Where was the boat? Down in Shoreline Village in Long Beach. Yeah. That is where.
We sell boats as homes.
Right?
Single
Yeah.
residence, single family
Good
residence.
education.
Yeah.
Right there. Time for permission, yes. All right, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, let's see. So congratulations to one of our mentees, Ricardo Espinoza. That's going to be one of the people that we're going to be doing like a pseudo interview with, because he has a really interesting story of how he came across his first escrow, not his first listing. But really interesting story. Really proud of how he came across it. It's very old school. Okay, and I'll let him tell the story when it's getting close to closing, which actually should be like in a couple days. A few little things to tie up on that escrow, but smooth escrow so far. Also, we have a first escrow with Zara as well. And yeah, I think we'll do just a little like mini interview of both of you guys, because both of you have your first escrows closing hopefully soon. Yours, yeah, take a picture of it. Great headshot too.
Thank you. My husband took it in the backyard. From his iPhone.
Sheesh.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, one of our mentees under Anna Wang, Cece, had her first closing, so let's give her a round of applause. She's not here right now, but has she rang the bell? No. All right, we're gonna get her to ring the bell. Oh, there you go. There's the bell. Congratulations on your first closing, Michael Ferreira. He is a mentee under Jessica Romero. So guys, look at all this activity we have. First escrow, first closing, another first closing with Rich Ramirez. So not new to real estate, new to us. He came from another brokerage, but came over with a white hot lead, and it was just a matter of like, get the paperwork done, get you switched over here. And he's well versed in real estate. So when you see him, he's not here very often, but give him a round of, give him a high five. We have cappers on Royalty. I think there's a few of them. I'm gonna go through them. Okay, so Royalty cappers, we have Mark Ellis and Don Zhao. So give them a round of applause. So that $3,000 cap on Royalty has fallen off, which is taken off at 6%. So they get a 6% raise until their anniversary month. So congratulations to you guys. And then we have the big cappers. We have a full capper. Let me make sure we don't have a few. Okay, so we have two full cappers. We have Shane Twin and Joe Chavez, one of our commercial agents. So give them a round of applause as well. They're at 100%. 100% until their anniversary. So congratulations, guys. Big deal. Not easy to cap. Okay. So when you see them, give them a round of applause. Joe's actually here pretty regularly in his middle office there. Shane comes and goes. All right, and then we have top 10 in our market center. We have the Burns team, Jessica Romero, Brian Parsons, Carrie Hernandez, Lily, Frank, SB, Jane, and Casey Picard. Congratulations on being top 10 in our market center for March, guys. And now we're going to do open escrows. Make sure there's not a second page. Okay, so open escrows. So we have Cynthia with the Parsons team, Christian, Susie, yeah, you can give them rounds of applause. Susie Koo, Desmond, Zara, Felix, that's Felix, Apple Zhao, Anna Wang, Colette and Dan Leach, SB Bagwell, Casey Picard, Jessica Romero, and the Burns team have 3 buyers each in escrow. Now sellers in escrow, so listings in escrow, we have Carrie Hernandez, Brian with the Parsons team, Kinga, Ricardo Espinoza, Apple Zhao, Anna Wang, Colette and Dan Leach, Kevin Squared have 2 listings in escrow, SB Bagwell, Casey Picard, Jessica Romero all have 2 each, and the Burns team have 9 listings in escrow. So a lot of activity going on. Congratulations, guys. Here's to a smooth escrow. Now on people that have it's a done deal. They did it. Closed escrows on the listing side. We have Joe Chavez, Kevin and Kevin, Leslie Zong, Mark Ellis, Brian with the Parsons team, and Shane Twin. I believe that's the one that capped Shane and Mark actually. Mark on the royalty cap. Buyer side closed escrows. We have Apple Zhao, the Burns team with four buyers closed escrow. Carrie Hernandez, Casey Picard, Connie, Don Zhao, SB, Javier, Jessica Romero with 3 buyers that closed escrow. Malik, Michael Ferreira, Brian with the Parsons team, Rich Ramirez, and Shane Twin. So let's give them a round of applause on closing their escrows. And then we have some April birthdays. Today's the 15th. Whose birthday's tax day? Oh, nobody's. Okay. Jesse, Carrie's was yesterday. Thought I saw her in here. Lizette, SB, John, Daniel, and Erica Flores all have birthdays in April. So when you see them, wish them a happy birthday. And then we have some April anniversaries. 2 years, we have Lena, Lilia, and Laura. No alliteration intended there. Victoria, 3 years. Leslie Zong and Joycelyn, 4 years. I hit the 8-year mark. Yeah, they can't get rid of me. Kevin Hurley, 12 years. Roger, 14 years. Oh, he just disappeared. He knew he was coming, he just disappeared. Anna Wang and Daniel, 14 years. Brett Scogan, 15 years. Phil Coombs, 16 years, and Alex Romero, 17 years. So happy anniversary to you guys. And we have TC Corner. Ani?
Hi, everyone. Hi, good morning, guys. So just a quick reminder, when you are on the listing side, and let's say your seller has to provide a termite report and they're providing like a sewer invoice or whatever to the buyer during the course of the transaction. If the transaction cancels for whatever reason, and let's say we get a couple of additional buyer reports during the course of that canceled transaction, like the physical inspection report, I don't know, a foundation inspection, whatever the case may be, all of that becomes part of your new seller disclosure package that goes to the new buyer. So I know everyone hates that. So just please keep that in mind. So the termite that your seller provided, the sewer invoice that your seller provided in the last one, plus those buyer reports now become part of the entire disclosure package that the new buyer will get. So please keep that in mind because we do get some pushback sometimes from the sellers being like, oh, are you sure I have to provide this? I'd rather not provide the termite to the new buyer, but it's something that you have to do. If it's on hand with your seller, it goes to the new buyer. Okay, I know it's not all part of the deal, but it's what it is. Okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Which means, and that doesn't mean that people are going to be honest about it. When you are writing an offer on a listing that has fallen out of escrow, it's worth your time to ask if there's any reports. Crazy, there's usually no reports done, which is really weird. But you can ask, okay, and they are supposed to provide it. I was looking through the slides in advance. I thought I may have accidentally screenshotted. I think it's 12B or 12D, but I didn't crack it. But it does say that. It says that the inspections and the reports outlive that escrow. They just keep going. Material facts.
So it's not something we're.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't grab it. It would have been on accident. Okay, so affiliates. Landmark Trust, come on over.
Oh, what can I say this morning? Enjoy the Easter eggs.
Yes, my kids are gonna love it.
Oh, yeah, the candy, right? That's the favorite part.
Hey, my kids think I work at a candy store, basically.
Need to know that, right? What can I say? Oh, communication, please, communication through escrow. Is that we're having a hard time getting people to participate in their transactions, and I'm talking to everybody, buyers, sellers, agents, anybody involved. It's like, come on, let's go, let's do your paperwork. We need paperwork that goes to title, it goes to you guys, it goes to other lenders, it goes everywhere. So we have to pass these things on. So we're not just asking just for the sake of it. We have to get it out to people and we need stuff vesting. As guys, we've got a lender right now that they will not move forward till they get the SI cleared on the buyer and the seller side. So, you know, those are very important. Those are very important for title as well. So anything I can do to help you guys, please let me know. If you have questions, let me know. I'm right there, right behind Angie. Thanks, guys. Oh, enjoy your Easter.
Kathy, for the new people, what is the SI?
Oh, statement of information. It has personal information on it. We are very protective of that. Title knows what it's all about. We know what it's all about. We do have to share it, unfortunately, so. I mean, if people, over the years, I've had a few people get a little, kind of pushback on it is what I'm gonna say, and only because they've had an issue. And then once you explain it to them, they will give it to you reluctantly, but they will give it to you. So, you know, it's necessary though. So, sorry, like, what can I say? It's been doing it for years. Same paperwork. Thanks.
All right. Let's see, Sandy Franco first. There you go.
On the way.
2 slides, there you go.
Yeah. I guess you're, okay. Anyway, Sandy's on her way, she's bringing lunch, so we are able to enjoy lunch with us, in a few. So she's rushing over here with food. She does home warranty from First American. I do the title side from First American. So, Kathy was talking about SI, a statement of information. It's really important for all of us to have it. The lenders need it. For title, from us, we don't require for the buyer. But if the lender requests it, like she was saying, then we have to request for it. So the SI, yes, Kathy,
You may not,
yes.
but other
lenders,
companies do.
yeah, other title companies do.
So,
Good point.
yeah.
A lot of other title companies do, but for us, we don't because we're insuring the buyer. We don't really need to cross-check the buyer because if there's anything the judgment the buyer has, it doesn't affect our property because they're the ones that's gonna be living in the property that the sellers are selling to the buyers. You know, it sounds a little confusing. But, so that's why we need to cross-check it with the SI, for sure, for certainly for the sellers, because we wanna see if there's any liens and judgments that may have attached to the seller. So, just in case you didn't know, when we run a prelim based off of name and address, it's like a 60-65% accurate prelim. Until we get the SI, then we have more of a 98-100% accuracy because we have the social. The reason why is because liens and judgments may not just attach to the name of the homeowner or the address, but we need the social. Like child support liens are sometimes sent to the social. So that's why we need the SI as soon as possible, not when we're about to close. Because then if there's any liens and judgments, we're getting that information so late in the game that you may want to close the next day, and then all of a sudden we run the SI, statement of info with the social, and we find out there's a lien and judgment that's attached to the homeowner, and then we have to clear it, and the escrow has to go try to figure out how to clear it. So it becomes really, really problematic. The other thing that SIs help us do is help us with fraud. There's a file that we've caught on that the signature on the SI didn't match the one on the RPA or the other documents that they were trying to use, or the grantee. So that's why an SI is really, really important for us. So we do have a fraud class coming up tomorrow at 11 AM. It is a webinar, and now with AI being so prevalent, there's a lot more fraud. So it's right now, it's 25% more than last year. And last year we spent, not we, but real estate industry spent 12.5 billion in fraud claims, billion. With a B, it's crazy. And now we have a 25% hike just as of this quarter. And of the 12.5 billion, guess how much was stuck with just email fraud? 500 million. So that brings me to ask you a question. Who has heard of MFA?
Fine Arts.
But it's not the fine art, we don't have the degree. It's actually multi-factor authentication. So the most basic thing that you should already have on all your emails, because it's 500 million that's been in fraud, is at least the multi-factor authentication. It's a 2-step verification or multi-factor. So now, it used to be just a 2-factor, now they have multi-factor.
authentication. So the other day I logged into, I don't know, some government portal. Now they not just ask for your cell phone, but they also ask for like an authenticator. So there's like the Google authenticator that you have to download, and there's other different platforms, but now we're getting to that point where you're gonna have to have more authentication because of fraud. So if you can't make it tomorrow, I don't know if they're gonna record it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I can get you a copy if it's recorded, but the best case scenario is to register for the class for tomorrow. If you don't have the link, Robert has it, I have it. I think April has the link too for the fraud class. It's called Unreal Deals. Robert sent it out. So really informative. It's a webinar, do it in jammies, it's a coffee, it's 11 a.m. You don't have to move anywhere, go anywhere, and just get some knowledge for yourself, because the last thing you want to do is go through a fraudulent transaction. Of course, I have some numbers for you guys. And the reason why is because First American is one of the biggest companies, and being big, we get targeted a lot. That's why we're doing this class tomorrow, to bring awareness to the real estate community. Because the last thing we want is people to go into a transaction and it's being fraud, because the money that you made on commission is gonna probably, get all wiped out by going to litigation, plus more, and time. So nobody has time nor funds to want to go to litigation. And that's why escrow and I are here as your front lines to verify everything. So when escrow and I are asking you for information, it's not because we don't want to close. If we don't close, we don't get paid. So we all want to close. But we want to
slow.
correctly. You don't want to close fraudulently because something happened, there's an error that comes back, and off we go to litigation in court. No fun. So being the largest company, we have all the claim reserves to take care of our claims. There's been some times where title companies aren't paying their claims and we go to court too. So just keep that in mind. We are solid and we are here to take care of the title. And Shank, First American, San Franco is on the way with lunch, and thank you, Gabe.
Thank you.
Sorry it took a little bit longer.
No, that was perfect. You got double time. You got double time. All right, so David is not here now, but you will see him pretty regularly in the office. Anything solar, I always tell people, all you need to know about most of these things. So with title, with solar, with water damage, smoke damage, you need to know enough basic knowledge, and then you need to know the vendor to connect them to. Okay, so solar, go on a listing appointment, you find out that there's solar panels. Don't worry, we deal with solar all the time. I have David that can reach out to you and talk us through that. Okay, don't really go out of your purview if you're not comfortable with it, but just know who to reach out to. Okay.
Question that you might be able to answer, just
Okay.
in general. And I should know this, but does the city supersede the state regulation? Because we have like 3 different people who built on our street. One is a brand new ADU.
Okay.
No, 2 of them are brand new ADUs, and one of them is they rebuilt their house. They don't have solar. This is all in the past year or 2.
Oh.
And they've had inspectors out and everything.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering, like, is city?
In ADUs, if you're below a certain square footage. Oh, that's
I think it's 750s though.
Yeah,
You're talking about.
So if you build 748 square feet, you, I think, are okay to not have solar, I think, but I know there's a certain.
So there are 2 different vendors you can ask. We can talk to David about that, and where are they?
Yeah.
Cut and Dry. No, sorry, Chisel and Tool.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that told us about that 700, I think it's 750, certain square footage size that avoids certain things. But yeah, both of those people would be able to answer that one. Yeah, because I don't. Let's see, good question. Let's see. Elite Home Staging. So Shelby's our point of contact. They're the 3rd largest in LA, 3rd largest stager. So tons of manpower. If you're on a time crunch or anything like that, you can always reach out to them and they will respond to you quickly. Cut and Dry's been working overtime. Unfortunate timing, but also perfect timing because the fires happened and this is exactly what they do. So lean on them as well. They're the ones that connected us to air testing, air quality testing, and that's still a giant buzzword right now, unfortunately. So that just because you're not hearing of the issues as much doesn't mean it's gone away. Okay, so still understand that we have people for that. Maria Howard with, home protection, home warranty, proactive property management brothers. Easy, we just forgetting the what, the flailing arm man over there. Okay, well, again, look at that, you got it down. Your client for life, they will not steal your client. Chisel and tool, already kind of mentioned that part, lots of rebuilds, talking. Chisel and tools are the people to talk to about that.
They do the permitting too.
Yeah, they're your one stop, absolutely. And yeah, they're the ones that knew about that certain threshold where you can avoid certain requirements and permits if you stay under a certain size. So Chisel and Tool Property ID, Jason Hellawell, already another person. Fire hazards, it's the newest topic. Do not give advice and say, oh, well, you're north of the 210, you're safe. That is not safe anymore, just so you know. So lean on him for questions like that. There's been multiple times someone has asked me, I've literally just added him to the call and said, let's add Jason to this call right now and answer those questions, okay? Let's see. All right, how we feeling? Ready for some legal corner, some legal stuff? This is the fun stuff here. Okay, so this was a fun thing that happened. I don't know if it's way too small, I'll read it to you. So does anyone know about this?
Yeah, wasn't there one in Ohio? So like.
I think this was in Texas.
This one's in
Oh,
Baytown.
this is in
Yeah,
Texas.
this is in Baytown.
Baytown, Texas.
That's by Houston.
Today I learned there's a Baytown, Texas. Okay, so here's what happened. So look, you have your own perspective. I have my perspective on this person, but somebody decided that they were gonna write on a receipt a $100 tip. They were then gonna proceed to add that total, and then they were gonna write on that receipt April Fool's dummy. If you ask Cruz, that's a red word. No tip for you, with an exclamation point. Now, barring character issues aside, yes. What happens in this situation?
They got charged up.
Defend it.
Because they had signed it
They
already.
signed it
Yeah.
and they added it up, it's their handwriting and then they put their signature on.
Is this a contract?
Basically,
Yeah.
that's why it's signed it, right?
So,
Okay.
yeah. from
Was
what
the
I-
intent?
The intent is to cancel the contract,
Hmm.
but they didn't initial it and they.
There's no DocuSign involved here. So this split the world. This was like is the dress black or gold or whatever that was? Or like what pitch sound do you hear? This split the world on multiple levels. First on the contract side and then on the person's quality of character side. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to remind us we are not jerks like this.
Yeah.
And B, it's a good topic. So let's talk about that. What makes a contract valid? Who's the freshest out of real estate school? Just kidding. I'm not gonna put anyone in the hot seat, but what makes a contract valid? And then I have the ultimate plot twist at the end of this, like a Tarantino plot twist. So what makes a contract valid?
When it's signed and sent out, received by the other party?
So I'm hearing offer and acceptance.
Yes.
Okay. And we're stuck.
It's signed when they, right?
5 things.
It's maybe between two people. Right? Yeah.
2 people.
Oh, money exchange.
Consideration. It could be for a cow. Has to be consideration. How about this one? This was a hot button topic recently with the price gouging. Legality, you can't have an illegal term in a contract, which is why if 2 parties agree on a price gouging, which has been deemed illegal, they have entered into a contract that doesn't exist, and that's gonna be a whole other disaster. Because the tenant at any point in time can say, hey, I want all that rent back, and yeah, anyways. Let's see, what's this one? I tried my best with Canva, okay, I feel like this represents what I think it does.
TurboTax.
It kind of looks like that.
Is that intent?
Intent, well, it looks like they have a green check or a yellow check mark in their brain.
You have sound.
Sound mind, somebody said sound mind, I heard it like a Frankenstein, yeah, sound mind. So I know this is a lot, I'm just gonna offer an acceptance. mutual agreement, consideration, capacity, and legality. So if we go back to this, okay, so there is, I mean, whether or not they're of sound mind, I think it's kind of like one of those questions, right? But there's consideration, $100 tip, super cool. There is agreed, so it is, this is what you were served, you are signing that this is what you're paying for it. Let's see what else, terms, legality, I mean, there's nothing illegal about this, okay? So what is our final, let's see. Okay, sorry, I had a slide beforehand. So what is our final stance on this? Is this is this contract valid or is it void?
I found it's valid. Because anybody could have written April Fool's Day dummy, and who wrote that? It's not the same pen, you can't tell the handwriting.
Yeah, so so the idea is that this would be upheld, not withheld. This would be upheld in small claims. I don't know who's gonna, anyways, this could be upheld because the intention sure may have been to play a joke, and that could muddy up the waters, but it is signed. Now, if this person didn't sign, or if they didn't even add up the total, like they really put nails in the coffin here on themselves. Now, this was like the ultimate trap. This isn't a contract. Now, why isn't this a contract? This is a receipt. A contract is a promise. We are going to be promising to do this. So a contract to this would be, you're going to serve me this food, and I'm going to sign that when I receive this food, I will pay you. So it's called an executory contract. When you guys sign a contract, just so you know, if you really want to wow the other side, say, please find the attached executory contract, because the promises have not been fulfilled yet. They're still just promises. That's the contract, which is why if it falls apart or somebody goes out of line, they are out of contract, and then there could be punishments and things like that. So this is a receipt, but I love that it kind of ran people, which by the way, when COVID happened, everyone was a doctor. When tariffs happened, everyone was a tariff expert. When something like this happens, everyone's a contract lawyer. I mean, it's pretty amazing how much Facebook just has such multifaceted people. But it was just interesting. I was just reading the comments like, okay, they have the point. No, that makes no sense. And you just kind of read through what people think a contract is. But yeah, this isn't even a contract, but it's just important for us to understand this. Now, do we come in contact with making, like, do we ever run into this mistake where we make a contract void? Yeah, what's an instance that you guys maybe have recently made a contract void?
Go over timelines that are outlined, like we go over timelines all the time, we just say like, oh, in 3 days you're gonna do this, and then nobody does it, because we ignore it.
Okay.
We go over that.
So I can't tell you how often our lovely agents do not put consideration in a contract. And this is the easiest one. This is the BRBC. And anytime I put up a screenshot, I know it's kind of small, so I'll walk you through it. So this is a BRBC. And this is between Keller Williams Pasadena. Because remember, it's never between you and the buyer. It's between the buyer and Keller Williams. And Homer, you can't see it here, but it's with Homer and Marge Simpson. With Keller Williams Pasadena. Representation period is 3 months because I know my contracts, right? I follow the rules. And they're looking in Los Angeles. And then a lot of people do not put the compensation there. Yes. Because, well, how do I know what the other side's going to offer? So we'll just fill that in later. Okay. But you are putting yourself into a contract that is not void. Or I'm sorry, that is void because there's no compensation. There's no consideration. Okay. So I just need us to understand that as silly as this looks, right, where it's like, well, you know, first of all, this person's a jerk. Second of all, you just put yourself in a situation, and we know why. We know, well, they wrote in the dollar amount, so they committed. We know that. Yet, when it comes to us writing a contract, so many times we will not put consideration. Okay? Yes?
So if they didn't put anything, can there be an assumption that?
Yeah. You could be held to that. Yeah. And because it's a car form, very, very, very rarely are you gonna even be able to put something illegal in there unless like other terms. So for the most part, the car forms could, it helps us with these things. It has a space for the offer, the acceptance. It has a space for the legality. It has a space for mutual agreement when it's signed. But the consideration is the one wiggle room that we get, and we tend to kind of leave that one blank, okay? So just remember that when you're doing a BRBC and you want this to be a contract that is valid, you need to put consideration, okay? And we'll see it sometimes, one more thing, Kathy, we'll see it sometimes with seller in possession, right? The seller wants to rent the property back and they'll put nothing into how much, because you want to make your offer appealing. So you say, hey, don't worry about it. We're not going to charge you a penny for renting this back. And I understand that the mindset is we want to make this as easy as possible, but you need to put something in there, even if it's $1. Okay, there has to be consideration. I probably should have used that as an example because we see that one even more often. And it's because you want to make it easy. So you tell them, don't worry about it. You can rent this back for 30 days on us. Don't sweat it. Okay, but you still need to put $1. And unfortunately, you're probably going to have to explain to the other side, hey, I know we said it's free. We had to put $1 because we had to make it a binding agreement, a valid contract. Yes, Kathy, because I know you see this stuff.
Well, I'm just gonna say, make sure it matches what you're actually going to get paid. Because we're seeing it different, like the VRBC comes in, it doesn't match what actually is gonna get paid to them, but I'm advised that they're gonna get paid, so that's become an issue, where then it has to be modified. It needs to match, because then escrow has an issue where, how do we know, what we've been taught is that how do we know, say it says 2% or 2.5%, it's supposed to be 2%. How do we know as escrow that we're not supposed to take from the buyer 5% to get $2?
Yeah, well, now we don't know though what we're gonna get paid when we start. So like I just did a buyer agreement and I told her to put 3% because if the seller would be willing to give 3%, then I want 3%, right? So I was like, hey, we'll figure out what the seller is willing to pay later and we'll figure out what the terms would be. But she knows I'm not gonna work for free. And she knows that, I would charge her less than 3%, but we don't know yet what the
So
terms
then
would
we
be.
would ask for the modification.
Right.
Because it's got all the paper, it's got that. So all about a line.
It'll be in the camera.
I agree with that always.
Yes.
It's not always there.
If it's not in the counter offer, then they're paying they've
So
agreed
so
to
the counter offer, the RPA, SMCO, that's between the buyer and the seller. Okay, so they're countering back and forth, they're agreeing on who's gonna pay what. The BRBC is between the buyer and the brokerage.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so once the dust settles with the seller multiple and all that stuff settles, then whatever that lands on, you just need to go back to your BRBC and adjust that accordingly.
I understand that, but isn't there a spot on the RPA, the offer, that says you're requesting the seller to pay the buyer's
Yeah,
commission? Right, so wouldn't that, I guess,
so if her BRBC says 3%,
yeah,
and then they're going back and forth, the 3G3 on the RPA says 2.5, or it says 3%, right? The seller comes back and says, ooh, I love your I love your attitude, but we're paying 2.5. And then you guys agree on 2.5. Now she needs to go back and update her BRBC.
What if
Yeah.
you put it on the counter to the gap between the seller and the buyer, but if the seller's the one paying the buyer's brokerage, I would put it on the counter.
You do need to put it on the counter,
And do it all.
but then you need
Yeah,
it.
yeah, make sure you put it on the counter,
Yeah.
not just wait verbally and then go back and say.
No, it's
Yeah.
this is the 3G3 counter, 3G3 to be blank. And then they come back and say 3G3 to be blank, and then you go back. So it's just a line of the counters. But once that's agreed upon, then kind of like buttoning everything up, you go back to your BRBC and modify it, correct?
Yeah. it's a bunch
Um,
of terms.
My MTBR, correct? Yes,
Question, so when the seller come back with the multiple counter offer, they list everything they want, but they don't put the percent. Does that mean they accept a percent?
correct,
Not.
which is Yeah, that's why just be careful when you counter, because you're accepting everything unless stated.
Make sure you put it on your RPA.
What's that?
So make sure they put it on their RPA. We've had a lot of times offers come in and it's not on the RPA, just because you send the BRC, if it's not on the RPA, you're not getting it.
The BRBC does not matter to that seller one bit. The BRBC is between the buyer and the brokerage. And the reason why it doesn't necessarily, the seller may not care, is if the seller says, hey, we're paying 2.5, I like that you asked for 3, but we're not doing that. That's now between you and your buyer on who's picking up that 0.5%. Either it's getting dropped and you're modifying it, or you're gonna hold them to it. Yeah. Man, great conversation though. I love this. Okay, look at this situation room. We'll update. It's gonna loop. I don't know what they're looking at. But anyway, situation room. So this was a real live situation that we had, and I want us to kind of brainstorm this because we know our contracts, guys. So we're representing the seller. Buyer has removed the inspection contingency a week ago. Okay, so they were like, all right, this all looks good. We're removing the inspection contingency, no request for repairs, or even if we did, it's settled. Okay. Lender just now states that the roof needs a repair or a certificate of clearance by the certified contractor. Meaning, there's something that we need to be fixed. Buyer states they will need the seller to make the repairs. So what do? Are we understanding the situation? So the buyer and the seller have already passed the inspection. They've agreed on something, okay? So-and-so, you're gonna credit me back because I want the doghouse or whatever it is, and that's all settled, okay? Now, a week later, 2 weeks later, lender comes in and says, ooh, you know what? We don't like the look of that roof. Now, however the lender knows about that is irrelevant, but the lender says, hey, we need this roof to be repaired or accredited or something because we're not lending on this. And the buyer says, hey, seller. So what do? What happens?
The seller just have to do it. The buyer already. Yeah, so the seller has to. If the seller says no, the buyer is in a situation where they have to either walk away from the deal and lose their deposit. Or they have to do it.
Okay, so the seller can say no, and the buyer could walk away but lose the deposit.
They wouldn't lose the deposit now if their loan's still in place.
Is there a loan contingency?
Loan and appraisal are still in place.
Yeah, because they're
Oh.
based on the loan and they get their.
Well, then they
Yeah.
could say that their loan contingency, they could say they're gonna walk away and keep their deposit because they'll break it and they can't get their loan.
Yeah, they can't get their loan.
If the lender is the one requesting it.
But isn't like, I think there's a clause in there, I know we've had a couple of instances like that where it's like, the AC is like red tag, so seller is on paper, who's it on? Like, isn't, if it's a hazardous thing, the seller would have to do something, but I mean, a roof doesn't sound like, is there a hole in a roof, like, what are we talking here?
I don't think there's necessarily a hazard clause in it. I think just the general principle, I think you guys are getting pretty close, pretty spot on. So I like that we kind of brainstormed it. So let's talk about, let me see. Okay, so I'm gonna say yes so far, okay, because we are correct. Now, what if the buyer hasn't blatantly removed the inspection contingency? Okay, they did a request for repairs. They had that already has been signed and done. So let's say there was a couple of cracked windows and the buyer said, can I get like $800 credit? I'll take care of that later. And the seller says, sure. And they signed the request for credits, okay? So what, now can the buyer come back and ask for the inspection contingency to be used? He hasn't blatantly removed it.
They agreed on the request for repair.
They agreed on the request for repairs.
Right, but you can do request for repairs 1 and then request for repairs 2. And. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and they haven't removed inspection contingency, so.
Okay. I love this.
It should still be in place.
I'm gonna.
Unless on the request for repairs it said if the seller agrees to this, then automatically.
Stop looking at my slides, Marianne. Okay, so line 4, paragraph 4, it says. If seller agrees to all of buyer's requests or some of buyer's requests and buyer accepts the seller's partial agreement below. A, this is boilerplate, unless it's changed, this is automatically. Buyer removes the inspection of property contingency, paragraph 3L3 and 8C, those are both inspections. Except for the following and if something was modified. So to answer this, because again, I want you guys to have experience with this. If that other agent says, no, we haven't removed the inspection contingency. And you say, well, yeah, but we agreed on credits. And they say, well, we haven't removed it. This happens all the time where one party is so convinced that they know the contract. The other one is maybe unsure. So they kind of get shoved to they kind of get shoved around a little bit. I want us to understand that this paragraph exists, okay? If the seller agrees to all the buyer's requests or even some of it. So let's say the buyer says, hey, I want $800, or the buyer says, I want $800 credit and I want you to repair the water heater, okay? And the seller says, we're not gonna do the water heater, but we'll go ahead and credit the $800. And they sign and they agree. What this is saying is, even if it's a partial acceptance, but both parties agree on it, the buyer therefore removes the inspection of property contingency. Okay, so now it doesn't mean escrow at some point can say like, hey, we need to see a CR that says inspection is removed. Doesn't mean that they don't want that to like clean up the file. But I've been in that position where I've said, well, we already agreed on the request for repairs. The inspection's gone. And the other agent said, well, can we still see a contingency removal? And I said, well, yeah, it's a little redundant, but sure. Okay, so just I want us to know the contract so that you don't just, and then this could be on the phone where they just kind of like bump you, you know, and you're like, oh shoot, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Yes, you do. Okay, so if the RR is agreed upon, the inspection is removed. Okay, so does the buyer have an out? The answer, because you guys totally stole it, yes. This is a loan issue. Okay, so this says this agreement is unless otherwise specified in 3L3 or in the title. I'm going to ignore that. This agreement is contingent upon buyer obtaining the loan specified. If contingent, meaning if the contingency is in place, buyer shall act diligently and in good faith to obtain the designated loan. And then it gets into appraisal. So yes, you are correct. The buyer can say, either help me out or I'm just going to have to bow out. And they do not lose their deposit because they are acting in good faith. They didn't do anything tricky or nothing sleight of hand. Okay. Now, what course of action does the seller have? Well, we had to actually come into this situation. So the best bet here is for the buyer and the seller to simply have a conversation, or the agents to have a conversation and see how they can remedy this. Now, this ended up not being a big issue at all. Now, just as easily, the buyer's agent, the listing agent could have just dug in their heels and just gone back and forth through email only. They picked up the phone. They got that roofer contractor on the phone. The roofer contractor said, oh yeah, I'll give you guys a certificate. Like the roof is good. I'll stand by that. I'll put my license on it. So price is averted, but still there's a lot of things that can happen here. The seller can say, hey, look, here's what I'll do. I want to get this sold. You want to buy this. Both of our agents they got taxes coming up, so they need some money right now. So we'll do the repairs, okay? And we'll work something out with escrow where maybe they withhold something in escrow while the repairs happen, or we'll still do a credit, even though all that's done. We'll still do a credit just to cover this cost. Just the same, the seller can say, hey, look, we're not doing this. Either you find a way to do this, or we're going to let you cancel. We'll do a notice to perform. We'll do the whole cancellation, and we'll find a buyer that doesn't need this type of loan. Okay. But at the end of the day, communication is going to be the key. Lots of different ways that you can go about this. I just wanted it to be understood, A, that you knew the contract, B, that the buyer would not lose their deposit because they're still with the deal. Okay. And at the end of the day, just pick up the phone. Pick up the phone and call the agent. That's going to be your best friend. Okay, hey, your seller wants to get rid of this. My buyer wants it. We are on the same side right now. Let's figure out how we can make this happen. Okay, any questions on that? I love the mastermind, yes,
When you say certified contract, you license, right?
yes, yeah. And more oftentimes than not, if you can track down that same person that did it, then they're gonna know the property, they're gonna be able to go back to their notes, there's a lot of things that would speed that up. Okay, so as promised, oh, this is another one that I made, look at this. How to fast, I don't know what happened there, he kind of like, he's got two heads, hold on. So he's hanging on a rocket, and then two heads, I don't know why that happened. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, it took me a while, because I was like, no, I need the tortoise to go fast, and somehow it's turned into two heads, boom, two heads, anyways. The kids do not like this video. Okay, so fast track framework, so we are heading into high velocity season. There's a lot of people that are going to start making moves. And if your pipeline has been sitting there, and I know we all talk to our database regularly, I know that. I know you guys have all reached out to your clients just yesterday, I'm sure, okay? But in the event that you have not done this, we're gonna talk about how we can just really quickly, and I'm even gonna give you a script on it, how you can go through your database super duper fast. I'm talking, you could probably do 30 to 40 of these calls a day, and you can get through your whole database in a week or so. It doesn't need to be a long conversation, but there's a very specific question that we're gonna have you guys ask, and then we're gonna sort your database accordingly. So, step one, there's 3 steps. Because I know with real estate agents, we're really good at 3, okay? 3 steps today. Step 1, stop everything that you're doing. And now this is what I mean. If you're doing a newsletter, okay? If you're working on the best email tagline, if you're working on getting all your open house things in order, you need to stop all those things. Because this is the most important thing that you need to do right now, is to find your right now business. Okay? Because right now, there are people in your database that are thinking about doing something. And unless you call them, they're gonna go on Rocket or Zillow or something, they're gonna click on someone else's mofer, and they're gonna get stuck in a situation that does not include you. Okay, so cut everything that you're doing that is admin, that you could leverage off, that you can delegate and leave till later. This is the most important thing that you need to be doing right now. Step 2, you're gonna call each single person in your database. I know this is redundant, but I want to make sure it's clear. You're going to call them. You're not going to text them. And I'm a fan of texting and DMs, but there's a reason, okay? There's a reason that we're gonna get to of why this needs to be a phone call. Okay, now, it's really important that you don't jest all over them. Does anyone know what jesting is all over somebody?
Just calling to check in.
Just calling to check in. Oh, just wanted to say hi, okay? Does anyone here have a dentist? If you don't, then don't smile at me. Okay, everyone here is a dentist. When is the last time your dentist called you and said, hey, just calling to check in? Never. I hope we don't deal with these too many times, but if you've ever had an attorney or a lawyer, they don't call you just to check in. They call you with an update, maybe. They call you with a contract or something. If you have a doctor, I mean, that would probably stress me out. If I saw the doctor calling, he's like, oh no, I'm just calling to check in. Like, what? No, don't do that. So you are not just calling people. You're not just checking in. I can't tell you how hard it is to stop doing this. Okay? And it is our way to say, hey, Valentina, I have nothing of value to call you with. But I want to just waste your time real quick, if that's okay. I need to check off a box real quick. Okay? I just want to check off a box. So you're going to invite them to something. I don't care what that is. Invite them to a live Facebook where you're answering questions about anything. Invite them to maybe a client thing. Invite them to something, but you will feel a lot better calling people to invite them to a paper shredding event. I don't care. They have those. They still have those.
Arcadia Association's having one this Friday.
There you go. Arcadia Association is having one this Friday. Call and invite people to that. They don't care that you're calling to invite them to a paper shredding thing. they're gonna immediately forget about why you called them. Okay? And then you're gonna use the qualifying script. So I just want to be clear on this. Step 2, you're not calling just to check in. That is off the table. Write a big note on your desk and put a red X through it. You're not doing that. You are calling to invite them to something. Red day. Perfect. Red day. There is, I'm sure some city somewhere is doing an e-waste thing. They do those too. Shredding, e-waste, red day, whatever. I mean, if you're next level, have a seminar, I mean, that'd be amazing, but I know that's also a big ask. So leverage someone else's thing, okay? Now, you guys ready for the qualifying script? Here we go. Get your cameras ready. Oh, did it multiple steps. We spoke X months or X years ago. A lot has changed. What real estate goals do you have for the summer? Now, there's a reason that this is written the way that it is. If you know about the exactly what to say script, you know that the easiest way to start a conversation is to have a mutually agreeable, simple fact. And the author of that book actually uses this. He says, and I actually love that he does this. So let's pretend you helped somebody buy their house 2 to 3 years ago, and you haven't talked to them since. So you already feel like, ooh, I don't want to just call to check in after 3 years, okay?
You're not just,
What's that?
you're not just calling.
Exactly, okay? Hey, John, we helped you buy your house a couple years ago. That is not debatable. He was there, okay? So we both did that together. You still living in the house? The author uses this. Yes and yes, unless something really has changed in 2 years, you don't live there anymore, okay? Hey, we spoke 6 months ago. A lot has changed. Can we agree on that? Right? I mean, sheesh, it's already been a long year, right? A lot has changed. So, hey, we spoke 4 months ago. A lot's changed. What real estate goals do you have for this summer? Now, you can mix in here anything else that you want. Maybe it's the invites. We're doing red day at the office. We'd love to have you there. By the way, what real estate goals do you have for the summer? Now, we didn't want to say, what are you up to this summer? Okay. We didn't want to say, are you moving this summer? Okay. And we didn't want to say, are you moving? Do you know when we would like to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Okay. What real estate goals do you have for this summer? It has a time limit to it. You're going to put a time restraint because you want to hear who is serious and who's moving soon. And you're going to get one of 3 answers to this. Okay. And this is how you're going to tag them in your database. You're going to get, oh, wow, you're calling me right now. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, we're actually thinking right now on what we're going to do with my grandparents' house. Okay. I think it would be too perfect of a coincidence if they're like, oh yeah, wow, we're selling our house next month. I'm glad you called. Okay, but a lot of people are saying, wow, you know, we were just talking about that. My uncle just moved in with our grandma to help her out. We're not really sure what to do with that house. Perfect. Or you might get, wow, yeah, yay. Soon, actually, I think in the summer, we were thinking about looking at Big Bear for an investment property. I'm just giving examples. Or, hi, nothing soon, no major plans, which by the way, this isn't shutting you down. If they say, oh, we don't have any real estate goals for this summer, okay, you can go into a different script that we're going to talk about. I wish this didn't look so value drip. So now you're going to figure out what you're going to do with them. So let's just run through it really quickly. I'll come back to this.
So you tag them 1, 2, 3?
Yes. Yes. So step 1, stop everything you're doing. Call people. Step 2, you're going to call them with a reason, not just. And you're going to use this script that says, we spoke X months ago, a lot has changed. What real estate goals do you have for this summer? And then depending on what they say, you're going to tag them with a 1, a 2, or a 3. Thank you, Robert. I didn't say that part. You're going to tag them with a 1, a 2, or a 3. 1 is white hot. You need to get on that ASAP. 3 is glad I checked. I'm not going to pester you. And 2 is, let's talk about this. Set appointment right then. So if they say, wow, I'm actually so glad you called. My husband's cousin just just passed and they're trying to figure out what to do with that house. Your number one thing is to set an appointment right then. Does Tuesday or Wednesday work for me to run an analysis for you and show you what that is? Number two is, so if they said, yay, soon, we're not really sure of the timeline, great, how can I help? What do you need that would help you have a more clear path forward? Okay, and that's number three, Ford script. When in doubt, Ford script. Does everyone here know the Ford script? It's not, yeah, it's not really a script as much as it's a framework. Ford is family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. And I would say family, occupation might not really fit as well into the summer question. So if they say, no major real estate plans this summer. Oh, cool. What are you guys planning to do this summer for fun, for recreation? Oh, what would you like to do this summer? Because we're thinking about camping on the beach. We got this spot that we reserved a year ago, and that's what we're gonna be. What are you guys gonna be up to? Okay, so it's I want you to almost prepare for this one. Hi, nothing soon. There's a really good chance that's what they're gonna say. Hi, thanks for calling. We don't really have any big summer plans for real estate. Perfect. You want to be ready for that one because then you can hit them with the Ford script. Oh, awesome. Well, not real estate related. Like, what are you guys planning to do this weekend or this summer? Any big trips planned? That way it's not as unnatural of a conversation. And then you in the conversation when you can. Update their notes, right? Planning on going overseas late summer. Just put it in your notes. Okay. Now the idea is you're gonna go through this step by step. So let's say you commit to calling 30 people, and I know that's a big number, but understand you have a really simple script to use. Okay. You're gonna call through your database with this script, okay? Mutually agreeable fact, really easy. Hey, we haven't spoken for a year, a lot's changed. What real estate goals do you have for this summer? And then you're just gonna tag them accordingly. So ideally, you're gonna have a database of 250 people with a bunch of 1s, 2s, and 3s. And all the 1s, you're gonna be trying to get that appointment ASAP. The 2s, you gotta figure out what of value you can provide them later. Okay, and then the 3s, put them on a smart plan, monthly neighborhood nurture, right? They're not urgent, they're not immediate money. Okay, but this is what you need to do right now in order to get that pipeline up and running. Really simple 3-step process. You're gonna call everybody, you're gonna stop everything else that you're doing. Okay, the 60-day from you right now is crying for this to happen. Okay, the 60-day older version of you is shaking you right now saying, do this because we're starting right now, okay? This pipeline needs to get full again. So you're gonna stop what you're doing, you're gonna call everyone with this script, and you're gonna tag them. Okay, are there any questions on this? 3 steps, multiple steps in each one, I know. This is probably the biggest one, step 2. Okay, don't jest all over them. Have this script, have this really lofty script written down in front of you. What's that? 2. And honestly, the second, just try to work on that in general, honestly. Not just check in on people, and I'll catch myself doing it. Or I'll ask somebody a really tough question that is not easy to answer, like, how's it going? I asked one of our agents that was like dealing with the fire stuff, how's it going? And I was like, why, Gabe? Like, why did you ask a question like that? Like, ask mutually agreeable, easy to answer, okay? Any questions on this? All right, there's a few extra slides that I didn't put in here, Robert. Where are we? And here we go. So we're gonna wrap up with some wealth building training and events. For those of you that do not know and have been living under a rock, we have Red Day coming up at Don Benito School. Red Day is a day where every Keller Williams Market Center, okay, around the world, the whole earth shuts down. And the idea is you stop what you're doing and you turn into your community and you help out your own community, which is why Red Day stands for Renew, Energize, and Donate. And if you look back, and it's actually a really cool thing, because if you look back at every Keller Williams office, you will see all the Red Day things that they've done. And it's heartwarming, it's awesome, it's amazing. And I'll always remind people, yes, it's for the community, yes, it's for the culture. And it's an opportunity for you, the business owner, to show how you're giving back to your community. Last year, we had a little script board that said, hey, my name's Gabe with Keller Williams, and I love giving back to my community on Red Day. And everybody said the same thing, so Robert was able to like splice it all together. Is the video on here by chance?
The next one is one of the videos. That they have to play.
Here, the recognition, renew, energize, and donate back to our community. That's what we're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We got this going on around the world. That's really good. We're painting pictures of the impossible. I got a vision and I'm gonna make it true. We thank you all for your contributions. Yeah, I know your family. Exactly.
Oh, I see what you're saying, so I gotta go.
That's Don Benito watch list.
Oh, got it. Okay, so Don Benito is the school that we're gonna be working with. There's a wish list of things that we can order as an office. We're gonna be helping with their outdoor gardening, pop quiz here. With their outdoor gardening, we're gonna help them organize their lab, their laboratory. And then we're gonna do one other thing.
Library.
Oh, yes, and we're help organize that as well.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Find books for the library. They are affected by the fire. Don Benito, 17 of our families lost their homes. There was fires surrounding our campus, none of our buildings burned, but yeah. Some people.
And then you're sort of posted these schools that did lose their.
Yeah, we're hosting Rosebud Academy, which they charter schools that they lost their campus, so they're now not video. So yeah. And we're a Title I school, so even before this happened, it's a school that has 50% socioeconomically disadvantaged.
So something that I really do appreciate about Red Day is, so we're gonna have, it doesn't matter what your physical abilities are, it doesn't matter what you're able to do or what you like to do, because we will have multiple things to do. So there's outdoor gardening, throw me outside any day of the week. I want to play with the dirt, I want to do all that stuff. There's people that do not want to do that, so they're going to be organizing and categorizing the books and the lab and stuff like that. So no matter what, there's something that you can do and something you can help out. And then again, I'll keep leaning on this. This is an opportunity for you to promote what your business is doing for the community.
We're all supposed to be there, right, Gabe?
Everyone's gonna be there.
Yes.
And you can RSVP on the website. Also, on the homepage, there's a big old button that says donate and volunteer. You can send your clients and anybody who wants to volunteer or donate straight to that website. It leads to a landing page. It's got the videos of us doing our project last year, and us saying giving back to the community, why, Don Benito, links to the Amazon wish list. There's 100,000 books, it seems like. There's so many ways that people, if they can't come, they can donate, and it is really good reason to call. And your PTA is 380.
So our students, 380 students, but our PTA is the biggest percentage PTA. We have more PTA members than we have students at Don Benito.
So it's gonna be so much
So
support.
we have a lot of
Start getting what word
and a
out.
lot of publicity. We'll send out with over 1,000 people on our email list. So we'll send out photos and things like that to the PTA list.
Yeah, and then we have Red Day shirts. Noel's got Red Day shirts.
Oh, yeah, you have to do your birthday shirt, say that.
You want to? So there's Red Day shirt. So you probably saw everyone's wearing the same Red Day shirt. So we have shirts that you can purchase. Obviously, everything goes towards the causes. But yeah, I mean, and it's something we do every single year. So this isn't like a one-off shirt where you buy it and you never use it again. Just use the same Red Day shirt over and over again. You just need to get it once. And again, you don't want to be that one person that doesn't have your Red Day shirt, especially if we're shooting videos and you're going to be sending this out to your database. So Red Day shirts you can get at the front. And we will be essentially closed here. We are going to be lights dim. So if you come in here, we're not really going to be doing much other than emergencies. We want you to shut down your business for that day and just give back to the community. That's what Red Day is all about. And again, it's really cool because you see everyone on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. Every Keller Williams office is doing the same thing. So it's a really powerful thing. Yes.
What time? What time do you guys expect?
9 AM, we don't leave until the work is done.
9 a.m.
Kids pick up. You can make it rain.
It's
school
one day,
day.
it's
Oh,
one day.
I'm saying, is it till like 5 o'clock?
No. So
It's one day, you know.
So Red Day has usually been wrapped, and I shouldn't say this, but I mean, consistent. We're like by 2, it's cleaned up, and usually we are really good about choosing a job list that we can do in that amount of time. I've never been, and we've done some pretty physical Red Days. I've never been on a Red Day where we're done at 5, like ever. Yeah. So the hardest thing is getting people to stay awake and come back after lunch, to be honest. Guilty of that. Okay, needs and wants. Any needs or wants while we wrap up? And then we'll have Sandy Franco come. Any needs and wants, guys? Nothing?
Eat everything ours.
Red Day.
Yeah, we need everyone there.
Going once? Zoom land, anything? Needs and wants, guys?
You guys, any recommendations for debt restoration?
Deck restoration.
Somebody asked me about
We can ask it in
that.
the,
Get a patio deck.
we can blast out an email or a WhatsApp to see if anyone has a good person for that. Yeah. Okay, no needs and wants, guys? All right, well, Sandy Franco, you want to come on up? Woo!
Just back in Tennessee.
My
God, so much fun.
We're in Tennessee.
What's Nashville?
Oh, of course.
Top 20? Last year I was over 20, this year I was 17.
Oh, nice.
That's what I think, people. Kid Rock Farms. Had a great time. My boots were not made for walking in, which is so hurt. Anyway, hi, so I'm back. I want to talk about 2 things. The first thing is the crest. Okay, so along with the home warranty being crest, First American offers an NHD policy that is also crest. Okay, and here's what the benefits are to you as a listing agent. If you list and you get the NHD that's crest from First American, it costs the same, there's no extra price. It's the same price as a regular NHD from us. Your client gets $25,000 a year. Store that every year. Okay. You're the listing agent and you drive the home warranty. You should be driving a warranty to Crest First American Home Warranty. Now we're gonna add $50,000 to your seller's E&O. And you're gonna get a $5,000 deductible reduction should something happen. Now, the seller's E&O is gonna expire. It's only good for 6 months after the close of escrow. Your deductible reduction does not expire. So let's say 2 years down the road, they don't have a home warranty anymore because they didn't renew, but they closed with a Crest home warranty. For some reason, they decided, I don't know, the pink has faded oddly in the bathroom. This is a reason for a lawsuit. Welcome to California. Ooh, your deductible is still going to be reduced if you're still with a Crest office. It does not expire. Okay, so keep that in mind. This is one of the things that you can do for your business to protect yourself while also doing your very best for your sellers. Right? So I get that usually when the buyer's agent drives the home warranty, okay, as long as they do the First American, that's just fine. But if they don't, protect yourselves. It has to be Crest. You can't just write First American because we have a non-Crest product. If I'm not ordering it and someone else does, they're not gonna know. Okay, but keep those things in mind. There are ways to protect you, and there are things you can do to your client that make you a step above.
Use this information on listing appointments. You can do something other agents cannot do. You can give them up to $75,000 of legal assistance should they sell their house to someone who's wackadoodle. Right? And in California, probably 1 out of every 3 is wackadoodle. I mean, there's not a lot of lawsuits, don't get me wrong, it's not like it's a huge percentage, it's small. You don't want to be part of it, and if you are, you don't want to be exposed to be part of it, and not having the protection for your client and for yourself. Okay, and the other thing I want to say really quick, it's farming season, right? The weather's going to be nice, if it's drizzling on the way in, but it's gonna be nice. Get a hold of Angie, get your farm set, figure out what you wanna do and where you wanna do it. I have door hangers, I have the plastic bags, they're all free. Call me, text me, email me, I'll bring them here, I'll send them to your house, whatever works best for you. And then, the food's gonna be.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like make this go really long, because the food's running. Good, call me later. Nothing, no more needs than wants. Come on, you call me. Waiting for food, stretching.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have some amazing events coming up, including Angie's farm to pass or pass the farm. She's gonna do a whole workshop on all the marketing materials. But so next week's Gabe's gonna do find your niche, which is gonna set you up to know where you wanna farm. And then after that, we have James Dunn.
What?
From the Burns team, and little known fact, James loves AI. Coaches football, touch ball, flag football, and has 20 years in production coaching. He doesn't look like it. So we're gonna be able to unlock his little brain and figure follow-ups. And if follow-ups in smart plans is amazing. It's easy. You're gonna turn warm leads into hot, right? Gabe, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah. See, I remember.
Make it so they can't forget you.
So we're gonna do find your niche, 8x8 follow-ups. You're already gonna be calling out your list. You already know who to call and send those things on. And then we're gonna close it out with Angie at the beginning of the next month. And then right after that is Red Day, and you're gonna tell everybody. So you have everything all lined up. We have social media posts for you to already post on the website. So we're really excited. We're really excited about the next 4 weeks. It's gonna be good.
Strong spring, strong summer.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, you're gonna go right.
Let's walk slowly.
What's the food gonna be?
El Pollo Loco?
What?
Some
More people might show up for that. Ooh, actually,
What do you hear about National? Yeah.
we've it's come up a few times, like specific leads in your farm, like birth certificates, stuff like that. It's come up like at least 5 times over the last couple weeks. Can you talk to us about how people could tap into that?
Yeah, so we have a system through Ignite RE. We have 4 different ways actually to farm. One of them being you can search for birth certificates, you can run death certificates, well, not death certificates, but ways to farm for that, like people that just got married. So there's different ways to pull the information. They can be pull the data from sources that were posted on social media. So that's how they're pulling it, not just stuff that's been reported.
Wow, really? Interesting.
So again, with AI and all these different platforms, it's just becoming easier and easier to gather information. Before it was just whatever was reported,
Yeah.
and now if there's been posts of marriages or weddings or births, they're able to social listening. So
I had done a sale in Palm Beach last year, and 2 days before we were gonna close the escrow to a flipper. The as part of the company said, well, and the payout on the mortgage, I'm just getting that final number. Well, my seller, they inherited the house free and clear. So right before it was in a trust, and right before we had our closing, somebody took out a fraudulent hard money loan for 400,000 on it. And we had to totally stop everything and go to a lawyer. And they had already gotten, my client had, because he's in a trust, and he had already been to the attorney and had the court like certified that he was the successor trustee and everything like that. But these people had, they had his great grandmother's death certificate, all these other things that they created a fake trust. And so our attorney, when they had done that first, thing with the court, because we were so close to closing and everything, they didn't record that. And so they went in and they were able to put in another recording with the new, with that new loan. So we had to stop everything. I lost that buyer. It took like 6 more months and I had to go back on there again and find a new buyer.
Anybody can record anything on title at any time. So what the county's been doing now is that there's 2 things that they do. They send a letter to the homeowner. Say, are you doing a refinance, or are you doing this? On our side, First American, we're also sending random letters to different people that have open order with us, just to verify, hey, are you doing a refi, are you taking money out of your property, or are you selling your property? And we get a lot of calls back saying, no, we're not refinancing, no, we're not selling. So there's different steps that we're trying to do as a company, just in the real estate sector, because there's so much happening. And anybody, I don't know if I ever shared this story with you about a police officer. He was pulled over a lady because she was speeding or whatever she was doing. She was gonna get him a ticket. And the lady was so upset. She looked up the badge number, she wrote it down, looked it up online, found out where he lived and put a lien on his property. Yeah, you can do that. But the problem is, okay, she wasn't that smart, because on the return address, it said her name, her return address was her. So, but he didn't know that there was a lien on there until he had to refinance or sell. And so then he had to go unravel everything in court and show this is not a real lien. I mean, it was just a complete mess. But that can happen. Anybody can record anything on any property. So, as archaic as, the county is, they haven't really caught up to speed on how to manage things a little bit better. So that's, it's crazy. And then and free and clear properties are a huge red flag right now, like for us, because they're the ones that are being targeted the most, especially land transactions in Lancaster. And
For my sister's territory, they fund,
all the
close,
yeah,
it happens all the time.
all the time. So if somebody calls you and says, hey, I want to list this land, first thing you want to double check is if it's free and clear. Because that's 2 red flags. Then you pass through us and escrow so that we can make sure we're checking everything. Because if you don't, like I said earlier, you don't want to be in a transaction where fraud is happening. So, elder fraud, a lot of that is happening too, because they're not that savvy, so they don't know what they're signing. That's another topic that they're gonna go over tomorrow too. There's a lot of different topics that they're gonna talk about during our fraud class. And the thing is, if you register, you can actually submit questions. So like your question, you should ask them, like, what happens if, there's a power of attorney or trust?
Trust is just pieces of paper
Yeah,
that are
exactly.
notarized. I mean, it's like, I can go bring you something that looks like a trust right now. It's very, very easy to make it look like you are inheriting a trust.
Yeah, and with, PDFs, you can even like change them around and, manipulate the documents. And that's why when there's a power of attorney, that's another red flag. Because power of attorney is one document that can transfer ownership. Crazy. And so usually for us, we have like a 1-year span for when a power of attorney has been signed. We always, request that it's 1 year, but sometimes we've been able to close if it's a little longer, but we need a lot of documentation just to cover the file. Do you guys have any questions on like fraud and stuff that's happening?
Well, so I think in MoFirst, like that's how my brain works. So if we have a database of elderly people that may or may not have properties that are free and clear. I mean, what is their first step on protecting themselves from that?
There isn't that much protection right now, unfortunately, but if it is free, I'm telling you, like, we haven't caught up to the speed of the fraudsters. So one thing you can do for free and clear is get a HELOC, get your equity line. That's really the only thing I've been asked so many times throughout the 23 years I've been doing this is, hey, what do I do if my house, is there an insurance that I can buy? There actually isn't, there's no such thing. So all these scammers will say, hey, I can make sure that you're not gonna be part of fraud, or your house is not gonna be stolen, or there's, I can send you all the data. All of that is fake. If they're saying that they're gonna give you like, sometimes when your homeowner, when your clients sell their property, they get a bunch of letters saying, hey, I'll give you the copy of the grant deed, oh, I'll give you this,
Yeah.
you need to buy this from the government, all this is. No, trash, all trash, you're just spending money on nothing. Tell them, because they usually ask you guys, oh, what is this, do I need to fill this out, because it looks like it's a legitimate documentation. Like form that you need to fill out, it's not, it's a bunch of, like this focus, don't even bother. So, I mean, there's really nothing you can do, just be diligent. There is an email, not email, there's a website on the county reporters. Sign up for that, because anything that gets recorded in your property, they'll email you. Like, hey, did you record something? Not only do they, before it was just a letter that they sent to the house, but now they actually email if you sign up for it, they'll email you letting you know, hey, is this accurate? Did you do this? Your property, blah, blah, blah. So that way you're in the know, instead of that police officer waiting to refinance or resell his property and then find out there's lien in the property. So you want to be diligent about it, because when you're not, that's when errors happen. The other thing with the emails, remember I told you 500 million being in fraud? The basic thing, just sign up for that 2-factor or the MFA, because if you don't, they're just lurking and they're just waiting. And if you put in the subject line wire or money or deposit, any of those things, they're just right behind the scenes. They're just gonna pounce on, they're gonna start changing things around and sending the emails on behalf of you. I had an agent, he had a listing, and his, like another realtor, got his email hacked, had no idea he got it hacked. Did I tell you guys? And then that poor agent, the one that got his email hacked, that fraudster was emailing a bunch of realtors an attachment to buy the house, like they had a buyer for that house. They click on the attachment and it was malware, it was virus. But he said that to all the agents around. I think it's so bad. So, and it's just happening all the time. So you just have to be aware of things. And the more aware you are, the more you scrutinize things, the better, the better chance that you are not to be stuck with fraud happening to their files or your account.
But I've been telling people when they have a house that they inherit to make sure that they file with the county recorder, because they'll tend to think like, oh, well, it's in grandma's name, and when it sells, then it'll transfer to the new person's name, and it doesn't matter this, interim time. But that's the time frame when these people like swooped in and put it into their, and got that loan in there.
So you're lucky to
Don't wait,
got it.
just do it.
Because because a lot of times too, there's a little window of opportunity where title and the county, they don't really put it on public record yet. And if you're just about to close, they attach a lien on there or take out part of
That's
money.
what it was.
And they take the money out and then they just, they're gone.
They had gotten like $450,000.
Yeah.
2 days before we were gonna close escrow.
If you're lucky they found it, because a lot of times if it wasn't in the span, that little time frame, I call it the black hole. Like if it's in that black hole, nobody sees it. And so title won't see it, the county won't see it, it's not a public record, and you guys would have lost, you would have lost it for 450.
Right, yeah. Well, the seller was like, thinking he was gonna get all this money, and then all of a sudden it's like, said, what are you talking about? No, he's buying a $650,000 house after this closes, like, there's no other mortgage to pay out, So, yeah, it's just a coincidence that.
Lucky, super lucky. So,
Feel lucky.
no, yeah, because if not, like, let's just say they didn't catch it, then it becomes somewhat of a claim but I think it'll become a claim too, because it's still part of fraud. So with title insurance, we cover fraud after it closes. But if it's before it closes, like say wire fraud, there's nothing, nobody can do anything because there's no title insurance issued. But after it's closed, it could become something that could be a claim. But in this case, it depends on when the recording took place too of that that hard money loan.
But wouldn't the title insurance that the current seller has cover it?
No, it would be part of the buyers. Well,
Well, their house was paid off.
Oh, they were-
They
they were
had,
pretty
no,
clear.
they had it,
They didn't have
they didn't have any.
yeah, I think it would be the new
It was
buyers.
his great grandmother's house, so it had been in their family for 2 generations. And
Yeah, it would have been the new buyers policy.
current title policy.
Yeah. And so, I don't know if you guys remember this, but whenever there's a title insurance policy from the seller to the buyer. And the listing agent chooses the title insurance, they're actually choosing the title insurance for the buyers. Because we're protecting the buyers on the buy side. So that policy is to protect the buyer, so in the event that there was some sort of fraud or some sort of error that we didn't know from the trust. Or the power of attorney was incorrect, or there's a solar lien, or any type of judgments that, for whatever reason, title didn't pick up, it becomes a claim. Now then, this is where there's a problem. So it was 2 weeks ago, actually, it was an agent from here. 2 weeks ago, she called me, she goes, Angie, I need to talk to you, it's kind of urgent, I'm like, okay, it's 5 o'clock, I'm about to pick up my daughter from school. The best I could do is we could talk on the phone, she goes, no, I need to talk to you first. So we sat in the parking lot of my daughter's school, because that was the only place that we could actually squeeze in like 5 minutes. She goes, there was a hero lane, solar lane, that popped up on my buyers. And now she has a new buyer. So she was repping the buyer. Now she has a new buyer, because now the owners want to sell. And there's now a hero lien that popped up. And so that should be a claim for the title insurance company to pay for, because all of a sudden you've got a hero lien.
Yeah.
And so she goes, did you file a claim? She goes, yes, I did. Because they don't want to pay my claim. They want to go and sue LA County first before they pay. Okay, that's not how it should be. Title should pay the claim,
Yeah.
let them move on with their transaction. And then let the title company deal with the LA County, whatever, they think is incorrectly done. But this is what's happening, because a claim for title insurance is so expensive. Think about it, it's the cost of the home. So whatever the sale of the house is, that's what they're insuring. So where are we? California, Southern California, $1 million. It can go up to $1 million. But this hero loan was only for 80,000, and they were having a hard time paying the 80,000. It was a big company. It wasn't us, obviously, but it was a big company. So she was freaking out. She didn't know what to do. So I got my underwriter on the phone and talked her through it and said, this is, what you should probably say in your email. So I don't know, it's crazy right now, the way the industry is moving. I'm actually nervous because title insurance is paid really a large amount. And if there's so much fraud happening, another thing, I was telling Kathy, embassy stamps. The notary stamps.
Oh,
So there was another large title company that were insuring a bunch of fraudulent transactions without knowing it, because they were faking the embassy stamps. What happened? It's just crazy. Go to the class tomorrow. I'm gonna learn some new stuff too. Kathy's gonna learn some new stuff too. The more aware we are, the better we are.
See, guys, ChatGPT can help you commit fraud more efficient.
Lunch is almost here. I think time we need to go look for
Yeah,
it.
hang out for a bit, guys. Lunch is here, or almost here.
Almost here. You're welcome, guys. If any other questions, let me know. Thank you. Enjoy. Nice to meet you You're bouncing on the wall.
Yeah.
That's why you're the candy, right?
Yeah, we think I just work at a candy store. It's either balloons or like streamers, like these little streamer things. They're gonna love those. Why not? Okay. What activity is she any like? Maybe you told me already. Any activities?
Singing classes.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's great. They don't put her in fire.
Very cool. Yeah.
And she was. Then her new school, she was able to get her to some of the extracurriculars and transition.
Okay. Yeah.
She likes dance too, so I'm not waiting.
Yeah. Very cool.
And it costs so much money.
Dude.
Think how much money.
It's like everything is 160. Yeah. Like 170 or 180, it's like.
You're the auntie, you know, like, I can't come to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Yeah.
We keep telling ourselves, because right now daycare is like $2,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, Cruz is almost done with daycare. And it's like, there's a reality where we get. Where's like,
I
what
know.
are we gonna do with that? Yeah, I'm sure something else will come up, but not to that amount. Like, that's crazy.
So I'm gonna try out.
Okay, do you know which one? Okay, yeah, yeah.
I already know.
Is maybe, no, that's not. Is maybe all broken?
It's on girls in high school,
Okay, okay,
but it's co-ed, and then I know I'm in city.
okay.
The final one, yeah, so how much fun, I'm just going. And so they have to like figure out, snow, what?
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're, and then they're writing all that stuff, you know, what do they do when they go to, they're already know.
Right.
And they're like, oh, well, we'll move to like Taylor or better. You've got 32 kids, we won't even know their name. Oh, I'm gonna take a picture of the student, should I take an egg or do you know?
Take two.
I know. I have the same, I've got, I'll be put on the preschool.
I have to take the same.
Yeah.
No, like, 4 years apart, but they still do like. No, all right, thanks, over to you guys, bye. I am excited, thank you.
I mean, I don't know if you can do it.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So, I mean, it's like that. 100%. Which is fine, it's fine, it's good with real help.
Yeah.
You know, so. You know? Big grass, so that was healthy, because I was trying to put weather down.
Yes. Thought it was late, everything was.
Oh.
Oh. Because I keep saying them.
And also, some things.
Oh, we're all screwed.
I said, you are, so I'm not leaving until someone needs the damage. If I had to bring food over to dinner, I'm still, don't threaten me.
Oh. Okay.
I know you do.
That was a lot.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, nice to see you.
If my Sally comes tomorrow, then I'll see for them.
No.
Oh, no.
Wait, come back on Monday.
Okay,
And I was doing it right.
Then I'll let Brandon know. I have a 12-minute walk with the best.
Okay.
Have a good time.
I know you're taking.
I know your stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
But I was like.
was like, oh, yeah, well, we have food. Go, I'm like. No, actually, I guess.
There are new and they do get all the possible and there's no sort of like, I'm not just being naive or acts or something and then there are.
Yeah, I want you to. Question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grab it.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, because it's gonna, I know, it's gonna go up,
Yeah, I've been doing that. A lot of stuff.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Ooh.
I already left it. Oh, I really.
Yes.
And we're talking about, well, that's the next thing. Yeah.
Are you guys in any way like anticipating error situation?
So I went and told my financial planners, watch right now, I'm close to retirement. You know, it doesn't look like, oh, yeah. I need to do this, this is the global economy. The global economy,
Yeah.
this much of this terms.
Yeah.
And everyone's bitching about their 401ks, but it's kind of fun things elected. I freaked out.
Oh, did you?
And I went totally conservative.
Yeah.
I made money. I mean, don't get me wrong, I get it, but I was also going to aim for anyone to retire. So
Wait, you can conservative with your.
my 401k.
Oh, got it.
How they do it for me, I think, you know, my 401k administered by the company, they can pick how aggressive you want to be. Oh, everybody get it. The less aggressive you should be.
Right.
Oh, am I going to do my? So we're that way, and quite frankly, I forgot to change it. Having some money during the Biden years, actually the market did really well.
Yeah.
I
They say that the people whose portfolios do the best are people that have lost their passwords or died.
Yes.
Because they just don't touch it.
My sister's like, why don't you do more stuff? Because the folks at Fidelity know actually what they're doing, and I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I'm not Fidelity.
Yep.
They're my new share.
Yeah.
And when we look at these guys, I'm pretty sure, so I can retire in 6 years.
Yeah, is that the number?
The number. Thanks. Number. Because I have to work on 65.
Well,
For medical benefits.
oh,
Yeah, whatever. We don't have retirement. No.
Yeah, but.
So Joe will work like 68 and it's.
Yeah, with the.
But that's a little crazy if he doesn't.
I'm saying.
And I'm not gonna be him. Tomorrow. Y'all. This one, and say, oh, I didn't know that.
You guys, would you retire anywhere different? Like, would you go anywhere? Yeah.
And there's the problem.
Oh,
My husband has a family home in Mexico. Not Toes in the Sand, Mexico, it's Toes in the Village, Mexico.
okay.
Yeah, no.
I've been there, it's a cute little village, I'm the tallest woman in town. The most natural blonde, and I'm not natural blonde, closer than anyone else in town. I don't speak Spanish, and I don't speak English, it's very smart. And there's no people here. I probably dump about 50,000 American into it to make it better. I don't want that, yeah, that would be what's that. And so that's, we won't get started together. All these years of marriage, this is what's gonna kill us.
That's when it'll split.
That's what breaks the marriage. Well, we'll see, one of the grandkids are.
Right.
I got 3 kids, we'll see. We moved him back to Arizona. He's not a strong man for the surgery maybe. Because I see what I have to do it say. You don't get survival. Let me strong, come see me here. And then I said, well, I'm living in Arizona. I said, live where you're happy.
And what's the?
So he doesn't need a lung transplant, that's off the table. That's why I got him, he's too small.
Mm.
And his lungs, his heart's being kicked out